Release the Kraken!
And welcome back, Outriders. This is Games from the Deep. I'm Captain Kraken, and in this particular video we're going to be doing something a little bit different. During recording, I had accidentally flicked one of my settings off. There is no commentary track, so this will mostly just be a couple fights and the actual cutscenes. I do something kind of sort of, I don't know if it's unique, but as we progress with the Adventures of Captain Scruffy McScruff, I do not actually go out and do instances or anything like that. So the idea of going back and redoing all the instances and trying to recreate the organic nature of the commentary track seemed a little bit off-putting to me, just because as I play Scruffy, I'm recording them, and you guys are kind of following along on the adventure with Scruffy, and just the idea of, you know, going out and getting more gear and more EXP without you guys just didn't feel right. So I apologize for this video being the way it is versus the way the other ones are, but with that note, we will carry on, and lesson learned. At this particular point in the instance, I had mentioned before that I had felt a little under-geared, and I thought maybe these fights were going to be a bit more challenging at the world tier that I was at, because I was, you know, halfway through world tier 6, but hadn't been on any sort of gear farming runs. And I am going to end up taking the time to actually lower the world tier. I did make some comments about, you know, if you're struggling in a section, don't be afraid to lower the world tier. Maybe you're just under-geared. Maybe the mechanics of a fight just, you know, are a little too much for you. There's no shame whatsoever in lowering the world tier in order to at least progress through the storyline. After getting a few pieces of gear and getting upgraded, I of course returned the world tier back to where it was before. And especially once you get the ability to modify your gear and actually start kitting yourself out, the game becomes much smoother once you get that ability. Carrying on.
Hey, Zahidi, I'm in. There's a lot of trucks in here. They all look the same.
I hid the briefcase under the truck's driver's side door. Just search them all.
Make me dig my own grave next.
This better be worth it.
Oh my God. It's still intact.
The satellite uplink.
The last satellite uplink.
So, that's what you were looking for when you found me?
Yeah.
And it still works? How?
The case, it's mu metal. It insulates. It's never been opened, so the electronics inside have been safe from the goddamn anomaly.
So, what does it connect to? The Flores. I thought it was all disassembled for the colonization.
Mostly. But we lost contact towards the end. Half of the resources we were meant to have are still up there. They're trapped in the supply pods. Seeds, electronics, hard drives full of data, all out of reach. We could rebuild civilization with those resources, but they're useless to us unless we can find a place beyond the storms. No, it might sound like a dream, but for those of us that believed, it kept us going.
So this is it. That's why Shira sent me to get you. She wants what's inside those pods. So, what do we do now?
Your frequency. I can use it to locate the source of the signal. I need to reach an antenna up high somewhere.
You got one in mind?
Yeah. Eagle Peaks. But, not yet.
I told you. Everyone who goes on this stupid mission ends up dead.
Only way to get some rest around here. Rest well, Jane.
And thus concludes my theory on who is going to be the dream team for the rest of the game. Next, of course, we're going to talk to Dr. Zahidi and get our little pop-ups giving us a very brief overview over the crafting mechanics.
Zahidi's truck is in bad condition. I've scavenged all the useful equipment. Doc'll have to ride with us.
Outrider, what can I do for you?
The, anomaly. Can you explain it?
Well, short answer, no. They call it an anomaly because it can't be explained. It defies all known physics. It seems to be some fundamental force of this planet's nature, electromagnetic and gravitational. But it's also a kind of weather system that obeys rules and can even be forecast. Sometimes it shines, sometimes it rains. Mostly rains. I have theories, but the scientific method depends on observation, hypothesis, experimentation, and finally, peer review. The problem is, I have no peers left.
Why didn't we know about the anomaly before we landed? I mean, surely it must have shown up on the surveys.
I assure you, this is not the world we were promised. Every report that came back to Earth told the same story. They had found the Garden of Eden, not some world that would be trying to kill us in every conceivable way. We would have stayed on Earth for that.
So what the fuck happened?
I don't know. My dad, he knew this planet backwards and forwards. He was on the Science Council that chose this world. Obviously, something happened during the 67 years we were asleep in hyperspace. Something changed this planet.
Tell me, Dr. Zahidi.
Careful. That's the very last satellite uplink on Enoch. You don't know how long it took me to find it.
How did you even know to look for it?
My father. I found reference to it in his notes. After we landed, he was out here looking for a signal. Long before we were. He was the first one to send expeditions. And back then, I was just a kid.
You came to Enoch as a child?
Hmm.
Not many kids were on board the Flores.
My father, being who he was, had the luxury of bringing his family.
I've been wondering, is it possible there are other Outriders still in cryo?
Well, it's entirely possible. Jane and I... We weren't expecting to find your team, and with insurgents closing in, we didn't have time to look for anyone else. I don't have to tell you how dangerous the first city is, but I'd want to be the first to know what you find.
I'm curious too. I'll go check it out.
The cryopod I found you in was in an old medical lab near the river. You should start searching there.
So this was the first city. Looks like a ghost town. What happened here?
Some geniuses decided to wake up 500,000 people when we barely had enough food for ourselves and put them in a city built to house 50,000 people. You can imagine how well that went. People stuffed into boxes, starving to death, living in their own shit like some fucking slum, and no shelter from the fucking anomaly. Those storms only had to kill a few thousand before the riot started.
So... the rioters destroyed this place?
No. What we did to stop the riots, that destroyed this place. It's good to get old Bess rolling again. She's doing all right, considering I brought her back from the dead.
Alrighty, and that's where this video is going to wrap up. Again, I apologize for my mix-ups, my errors. Like I said, we're just gonna chalk that one up to lesson learned. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you want to see more, if you want to continue on the epic adventures of Captain Scruffy McScruff, hit that subscribe button. Put out videos whenever I can, and as always, stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.